Hola chicos. Today we're going to learn how to differentiate between grouping and attaching items in Cricut Design Space, how one affects design work only, but not cutting time, and then the other one will affect when you're actually cutting and using your mats. So let's start by grabbing a text. We'll do a text and then we'll do an image example. And let's put in here attaching versus grouping, because that's what we're doing. It's a little bigger. So say we had this, and we're going to do 3 of them. So I Control C and then Control V to make multiples, or you can always just use the duplicate button here under layering. So right now, if I were to send this to a canvas, and let's change each one to a different color. We're going to have this in 3 different colors. We're going to hit make. It's going to send it to 3 different mats, one for the gray, one for the pink, one for the blue. Right? So right now we haven't used either attach or grouping. So now let's say we're going to group. We're going to group this. We're going to go up here under the word layers. You're going to see the 2 overlapping squares. You're going to hit group. You can also right click and you would have the option to group. And say we want to make multiple colors, multiple versions of this. So we make 1 duplicate, 2 duplicates. So now you have 3 different groups, but I can't separate them while I'm designing, right? So maybe I'm going to make 1 over here and I'm going to move 1 over here. And you're just grouping items because you're designing, not necessarily how you're going to cut it. You hit make, it's going to put all the grays together on one mat, all the pinks together on one mat, and all the blues together on one mat. It's not separating it in the same version of grouping that you did in the front. You have the 3 pinks together, you have the 3 blues, and you'll have the 3 grays. That's because you're using grouping. Now, if we went over here, let's leave one of the sets grouped. Now we're going to leave this set. It's grouped. We're going to ungroup it by hitting the same button. You hit ungroup. So now it's 3 separate ones, correct? Now we want to do is attach. And we want this whole group to be, it has to be one color because it's looking at it as one attachment. We're going to do all those in pink. And we're going to do the same thing to this one. We're going to ungroup it. So it's 3 separate items. And we're going to attach now instead of. And we want that in blue. Now, when we send this, let's remember, this is only grouped. And we saw what that did. That put it into 3 separate mats. This is now attached. We're telling it when you send this to your machine, it is to stay together. When you send this to the machine, it is to stay together. When you send this group to the machine, please separate it into the individual properties. But while I'm working on my mat, on my canvas, leave it as one group. So if we hit make, you're going to see 3 mats because you have a gray and a pink and a blue in the group portion, but it's treating it individually because of its properties. But in the pink, you're going to see 1, which went with the group you had, and then this one, you cannot separate it. It is attached. It is attached to each other for cutting purposes and for designing purposes. This one, same thing. You have one that's solo because all you said was group it. Don't worry about when I'm cutting it, just group it for my design purposes. But this has to stay attached all the way through. So let's go back to the canvas. Best way I can say at the end of the day for you to remember the difference is attaching, you're sending it to the mat and leaving it attached all the way through. Whereas when you're grouping, you're only grouping it for the purposes that you're in the moment. You're in a group in the moment. Whereas if you're grouping it, it's only a group while it's in here. But once you keep moving, it's not a group anymore. Hopefully this explains the difference between attaching and grouping. Both of these items you can undo. So this is attached right now. You can detach it and it will make it 3 separate items. As you see here, it will not remember at the time of this recording, which is April of 2025. Cricut does not have the ability to remember what the original properties were before you attach them. So you would still have to go back over here and change this back to the gray and then this one back to the blue if that's what you wanted after you detach it. But you can undo it. The only one of the properties down here that you cannot undo is under the combine. You see weld, and it's actually even separated from everything else. You can't undo weld. And to be honest, I don't think I use weld anymore because when you do a script font, it automatically welds it for you when you send it to cut, even though on the screen it's not welded. So now with an image, let's try an example with an image. An image, let's pick a bunch of balloons. Let's say we have a bunch of balloons that we want to cut and keep in a group while we're designing, but when we go to cut them, we want them to come out in individual colors. So this right now, it is already grouped. As you can see, if you hit over here, it would say ungroup. But if I send this to the make screen, which is where we process the mats, it's going to have individual mats for each balloon and for the string of the balloons. Now, if we went back over here and we make a duplicate of the bunch, and say, I know that I don't need them to all be different colors. I want all my balloons to be green. So I'm going to ungroup this and I'm going to make all my balloons green. Right? So when I send this item, it's going to add these to a green mat. This and this will be in a gold mat. This will be in a yellow mat, a blue mat, and a pink mat. Let's see. The green balloons will not necessarily cut out in the same form that you see them on the screen because it's still just a group, right? But if I'm cutting it like this and I'm cutting it out of, say, vinyl, you want to transfer it in the shape that it already is in. So we come in here and let's make those green balloons attached. Let's make them be attached. So when it sends it to the green mat, it's going to keep this style. So it's not just simply changing the color, guys. You have to tell it what to do with that color. And what we want is we want to attach all those green balloons. And if we go to the green mat, you'll see that they are in the bunch and they're going to cut out in the shape that you want them. So then when this cuts out of a piece of vinyl or a heat transfer iron-on vinyl, it'll come out like this, and then you're going to transfer it onto your blank directly without having to position it. Let's go back to the canvas. And that's how we can use attach versus group. I'm hoping these tutorials are helpful for any beginners, anybody enjoying their Cricut for the first time, and sometimes even those who have been working with it for a while. Sometimes we forget the basics and make life harder for ourselves. Okay, guys, hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to hit subscribe and like. That will help our channel grow even more. Thank you.